So we kind of do a team effort on, on what questions we come up with and any other elements in the guest segment.
Okay, so that's at noon to lunch. You have lunch inside.
Yeah.
Does he have the same thing for lunch every day, like he has lasagna every night for dinner?
Chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah. Now, after...
You just said that so funny.
Yeah.
Chicken. Yeah, he did the chicken.
And then he'll shift it, like in 6 months, to turkey.
Wow. So I think, like, this year I'm going to have chicken or turkey.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
So when does he meet the guests?
The guests come in, the show tapes at 4, so the guests come in at 3:15, and it's very important to Jay, and I hope I don't bust you, I know it's important to you as well. It's very important to Jay that he visits with the guests.
Yes, absolutely.
Before the show and talks with them. Not necessarily even about the topic, sometimes he does, particularly with the political guests.
Yes.
He'll sometimes take 20 minutes, and the stage manager will say, Jay, you haven't even gotten into your suit yet.
Wow.
Because he does the warm-up on his show. By the way, the best part of the show is the warm-up. He does his own warm-up. But he gets fascinated with the guests.
All right, wait, he does, okay, that was a big deal, and I'm not sure I get the significance. What does it mean he does his own warm-up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to define myself.
Yeah, tell me.
15, 20 minutes before the show, you go out, and this is all shows like this, sitcoms, you have a warm-up comedian go out and just do jokes.
And he'd do it himself.
And he would go out and then answer questions, and it's very funny because you see how really smart he is and how he can come up with topics. He's not reading from, a teleprompter. He's not reading from cue cards.
Right. Okay, so
it's the best part of the show.
Right. So this tells me that although he may have a quick attention span, as we were talking about earlier, because he's multitasking, he really cares deeply about connecting emotionally with people, whether it's his guests that he meets beforehand, who he's going to have on the show, because he knows if the guest is comfortable, I can get more out of them and have a better quality product. He's doing the same thing with the audience.
Yes, he is. He likes to relate to people. And just to give a specific example, we even asked, I guess the highlight of what I did over the 18 years was booking President Obama as a sitting president.
Okay.
And he was the first sitting president ever to do a late-night show. But we even asked the president to come early, so that he could spend time visiting with Jay.
So wait a minute. How do you call the White House and say, this is Dave Berg with the Jay Leno Show. We'd like to have the president on these dates. Is he available? Is that really what happened?
Yes.
Really?
That's what happened.
No kidding?
Yes, but it's a long process, and it goes back. Here's where it started. Some of these guests take 4, 5, 6, 10 years to get.
Years to get?
And this, President Obama, it started when he spoke at the Democratic Convention when John Kerry was running for president.
Yes.
And you might remember he stole that convention.
Oh, he totally was awesome.
Yeah. That's when I started calling on Barack Obama.
Really?
Yes.
Now, did you get green-lighted from Jay or from, quote, some executive producers say, Dave, go do that?
Yes. Our executive producer, I say our, I'm not there anymore, but Debbie Vickers was the executive producer, and she's the one that says yes, no.
Okay. All right, awesome. This is a great window. I had no idea the mechanics of this stuff. So, listen, when we come back, I got to take a break.
Really?
Oh, because I was, 16, 17, 18, to be able to go to the show and meet Charles Barkley, meet Wayne Gretzky, because Dave and his crew are the ones. So actually, Dave made me a celebrity when I was dating girls, because I could take them and they could meet celebrities, and Dave's the one to book them.
So he was a really good friend, right?
No, he was great. Every time Mom, would tell me that, this is one of Dave's guests, or this is Dave's guest, I was super excited.
Do you have a Dave Berg story that we can horribly embarrass him on the air here?
You know what? I don't. I wish I did.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would have a lot of embarrassing stories.
No. Sorry, that Thursday.
Oh, we're losing this connection. Beeman, thank you for calling in. Your cell phone's going bad. So how about that? That's one of the producer's sons.
That is amazing. And what's really interesting, Beeman is a very strong Christian. And I encourage him there, and I'm very proud of him for that. But his mom, whose father was a pastor, she represented I don't want to say the far left, but she represented the most liberal point of view in the producers' room, and I represented the most conservative view.
Really?
So we sort of had at it for about 18 years, but we ended up like a sister and a brother.
Oh, that's neat.
A little bit, but we used to get into some very heavy discussions. And in fact, our colleagues and even our executive producers sort of wanted to have us go on the air and sort of have a, tit for tat.
Okay, this is really, wait, okay, hold on. This is really interesting. So there's a handful of producers on the Leno show. You were one of those for 18 years. And you were the conservative Christian side. And this other lady, Shirley, was it?
It's Stephanie.
Stephanie. Okay, so Stephanie was more on the political left side.
Yeah.
Okay. And why was it important for that interplay, that heated exchange kind of thing, to take place? I'm thinking, as the producer of my show, I would love to have that the electricity on the air kind of thing, so I can see why they would want to have you on. But why was that important for the dynamic of the show to take place behind the scenes? Did you have an influence on Jay? Was Jay watching this and, I want to go that way, or did he have his own strong opinions, or what?
Well, let me just say before I tell this story that I dearly love Stephanie like a sister. But sometimes when you have a left, and by the way, I have my faults as a conservative. I definitely have faults. But sometimes Stephanie would look at some conservatives and say, well, they fall short. It was kind of a sibling rivalry. But she would look at somebody that I thought would be a terrific get, Glenn Beck.
Okay.
Right? Glenn Beck, and have been pushing him for some time, and then nobody was really interested, and I don't mind that. I mean, that's the process. You go in there and you throw pasta on the wall, and most of the time it slips down the wall. But then Glenn Beck ends up on the cover of Time magazine.
Right.
And I went back to Debbie, and I went back to Jay, and I went back to my colleagues, and I said, okay, is he good enough now for the show? And Stephanie had concerns. She said, well, I don't know. I heard he made some racist comments, which is okay. I don't mind being challenged.
Right.
Right? That's why we would have those types of discussions. And then I would say, no, he really didn't, or he made a remark that was taken out of context. That's why it was important to have those types of discussions.
Okay, so this is great.
Because we didn't want to have somebody come on and embarrass Jay. And,
All right, so you would have this dynamic and argue for your guests. I mean, you would lobby for your guests on why you wanted them on this show. That would be wonderful. I'm just thinking I would love to have 5 producers that are pitching ideas constantly. And I need people to understand, well, it's not. It's like 3 people that they're doing all the work here on the Frank Pastore Show.
I don't know how you
fans. All right, one of the things that Beeman said a moment ago is that you had turned him into a star because he got a chance to meet all these people. And I hate to do this, but I need to do this. Run through some of the, quote, big names that you remember over those 18 years that made an impression on you, Dave.
Oh, my gosh, Frank. Well, I never booked Frank Pastore, so that would have been the ultimate.
Because it's a good show, The Tonight Show, yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, pretty much anybody who ran for president came through the Tonight Show. John McCain, he had been on many times over the years, and we had actually had a relationship with John McCain, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and I mentioned Barack Obama already, who went on to become President Obama, Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow.
Just a whole list of people who just had an enormous influence on me, an enormous impact.
Okay, when it comes to, quote, these big name people, one of the things I would be interested to know is, and please, don't tell me names. In fact, I don't even want to know names. But do they have integrity? Like I had Dr. Dobson on first hour. And one of the compliments I paid him, and I wanted to intentionally do this publicly, was he is a man of integrity. He is exactly off camera or off mic who you hear on mic. And he is exactly with his friends and his family, the person that I meet and have coffee with kind of thing. He's the same. That's really who he is. Is it the same with, quote, these big celebrities? Do they have an on-camera persona and an off-camera persona most of the time or not? Or are people just people and it's a mix?
That is a fascinating question, and I find it fascinating that you judge guests the same way that I do. My standard is, whether I disagree with you or not, I want you to be the same on the air as backstage.
Right.
It's very, very important to me, and it says a lot about integrity. And it was particularly important to me that the political people were consistent, and many of them were. Some of them weren't, and it concerned me. Some of them would actually have different opinions. I don't even mind telling a story and naming a name because Jay has already talked about this person.
It's only if you're okay with that. I'm not forcing you or coercing you at all. Okay?
Maybe I probably should.
I would prefer you not. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I think people can sort of get the idea.
I don't like gossip. I don't like gossip anyway. But there was once. I'll mention just an example.
Okay.
There was like George Bush. You could talk to him about baseball. He was just a regular guy, and he was the same guy on camera.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton was an amazing. I was surprised at how personable she was. I had seen her on television, and I thought, gosh, maybe she's not connecting, but she really connects in person.
See, that's great.
I didn't anticipate that. Now, there was what I don't like, particularly among political people, is I don't like it if one in particular, every other word was 4 letters.
Really?
This is
a major political figure?
Who ran for president.
Oh.
And he wasn't comfortable in his own skin.
Were they really bad mouth? No kidding?
No, they were. And he was not comfortable in his
go into working in Hollywood, working in movies, working in television. What do you tell them, Dave?
I like to encourage young people, and I enjoy talking to classes and young people in general, and I always encourage them to follow their dreams. And I always tell them, say your dream, say it out loud. What do you want to be? And sometimes if they want to be an actor or an actress, they're afraid to say it out loud, like I'm going to laugh at them. And I say, no, tell me what you want. You have to visualize it and go for your dream. But if you're a Christian, I just want to give you a little bit of advice. Know who you are before you, and I encourage you to go into the industry. I think it's important to have Christians in the industry.
Absolutely.
It's very important. But know who you are, because while I was treated quite well, you are challenged. You are challenged from every which angle.
Give me examples. What do you mean?
An example. Let me think of something that's going to come to mind. Nothing's coming to mind. It'll come to mind, Frank. If you if you could move, I'll go back to that.
Yeah.
Question.
Okay. All right.
But,
all right.
Okay. I know. Okay. I was sort of.
See, it came to you.
Yeah. I was sort of. Jay had a name for me.
Oh.
And it had.
It's not Mr. Moo?
Well, Mr. Moo, that never went away. But
right, so what was your name?
It's because I had a Sunday school class for many years, and up until recently, which was a lot like the Frank Pastore show.
Really?
A Sunday school class in which I would talk about topics. And in fact, my original name for it, somebody said, you better rethink this name. My original name was The Intersection.
No way.
And somebody said, you're stealing that. I said, oh, yes, I am. Okay, it's Crossroads. But anyway, so everybody...
I didn't know that. You've led a Sunday school class for years?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on.
Second-rate Frank Pastore. But anyway, so everybody knew where I came from, and Jay knew. They knew what my position was on most topics. And Jay, one day, sometimes you get very, very passionate in when you're making a case for a guest.
Sure.
You really do. Or a lot of times you think material, or I would think material is inappropriate, and I would get worked up sometimes. And
okay.
Jay started to call me, and the name stuck, the angry Sunday school teacher.
The angry Sunday school teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes he would come to me and say, what do you think about this joke? Does it go over the line?
Okay, now, not to paint the obvious here,
yeah.
but you know the acronym for angry Sunday school teacher? I'm not going to even go there.
Stop it.
Yes,
oh.
And I'm wondering, did he ever go that way?
You know what, Frank? Sometimes that's how I act.
All right, so You tell Christians, follow your dreams, but remember who you are. Unpack that. What do you mean, who you are?
What I mean is you are going to be challenged. There are going to be evil influences, especially young people. Sometimes they're encouraged to take a role or be involved with something that's really questionable. And I believe you had a topic yesterday about the MTV shows.
Oh, yeah.
That would be an example of pure evil. Now, not every project in Hollywood is pure evil.